And okay, we are recording. So Brandon, when you are ready.
All right. Is everyone able to see my screen? I can't see everyone, but if you guys can just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat, that will suffice. Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, cool. Seems like we're good. All right, let's get going. I hope for today to be a little bit more of a conversation. Um, that's the type of environment that I prefer. But I'm here to talk to you a little bit about HubSpot, a little bit about the global sales competition, and hopefully have a little bit of fun as well. So thank you guys for having me here today and attending. All right. So reminder to record this meeting. We have already done that. And just a couple questions of the day. Question, then we'll do some quick icebreaker riddles. Love me some riddles. So first off, feel free to come off of mute or drop it in the chat. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl? The 49ers or the Chiefs? Anybody, anybody, anybody? Chiefs in the chat. Niners, Chiefs, Chiefs. A lot of Chiefs fans. Niners, Chiefs. I have a bunch of Taylor Swift fans on my team. They are all rooting for the Chiefs. I actually went to the Ravens game this week, and that was pretty disappointing. A lot of Chiefs. Okay. Another Niners fan. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for participating. Next up, just a couple quick icebreaker. Let's see how you guys do with some riddles. Let's see. First riddle. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I? Anybody, feel free to drop your answers in the chat. Yes, Alexander, I am a map. Nice work. We have one more. I am invisible, but you can feel. I have no weight, but I can carry burdens. What am I? Alexander, are you going to go 2 for 2? Anybody? Give you a few seconds before we move on. Nope. Stress is close. Stress is close. Guilt, yes, from Annabelle. It is guilt. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and get into today. All right, so the ground rules. Ask questions. Nothing is off limits. I do ask for your participation, and video is encouraged, but not required. Talking to like a bunch of names on a screen is not the most fun thing in the world. So I would love to see your faces and see some of your reactions if possible. But it is not necessarily a must, but like I said, would love to see some of your faces. All right, moving forward, let's get started. Quick agenda. I'll go through an introduction of myself. What is HubSpot? The competition format, some do's and don'ts for the global bilingual sales competition, and last but not least, a Q&A. All right. My name, as you can see here, is Brandon Camille. I am a sales manager, business development, corporate business development here at HubSpot. I have been at HubSpot for about 6 years now. I actually went to school in Florida, Florida A&M University in Tallahassee. Graduated back in 2012 and worked in Jacksonville for a few years at a company called CSX Transportation before making my way up to Boston. Took a job with Amazon and then HubSpot. I've been here for 6 years now. Started as an account executive, and now I'm in the manager role for the business development team. And I currently reside in Washington, D.C. I know we said we have some other schools on the phone. Any FAMUans on the phone, on the call? Anybody? I know they'll make themselves seen if so I guess not. But what schools do we have present here? I know we have FIU. What other schools do we have present on the call? So you guys can type in the chat at any point in time. FSU, okay. JMU, James Madison, okay. UCF, ASU, all right. Marion University, Middle Tennessee State, JMU, Asbury. Okay. CEU San Pablo, Kent State. We have a lot of people on this call. The gang is all here. All right. Well, I appreciate you representing your school. Let's go ahead and move forward. Thank you guys for speaking up. All right. Let's start first. A question to you guys. What is HubSpot? And this I will ask someone to come off mute for. Annie, what do you know about HubSpot? I heard somebody. Another Brandon said a CRM service. Brandon, can you care to come off of mute and tell me a little bit about that?
I know it's a CRM service that for example, if you're doing cold calling or something, you're part of a sales team at Oracle or somewhere where you'd be calling up people, you'll have someone's number and all their information about their business and position and stuff like that, like information on the client. And then you'll put your notes as you go through the sale or as you call them and get a little bit more information and like see where they stand when it comes to your product. You can put those
Any
notes
idea?
down.
And Brandon, number one, thank you for your participation. Any idea what CRM stands for?
It's customer relationship management.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure who that was, but customer relationship management.
Yep.
HubSpot is a CRM, but it's many things. Anybody else have any input and insight on what HubSpot is?
HubSpot is they have different hubs for sales, marketing, just to help streamline different operations.
Yes, I think that was Leandro that said that. We have sales and marketing product. We help streamline processes for different processes across the organization. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I think this like HubSpot helps like to companies to convert leads into clients. So like it's easy to get the leads, but it's difficult to keep up with them to be clients after that.
Yes, I cannot tell who that was, so I do apologize to you, but they mentioned that HubSpot helps convert leads into clients and also visitors into leads as well. Everybody, all correct CRM platform. We help streamline services. We help convert leads into customers. But in essence, we are a solution to help customers grow. Absolutely, Nicolo. We are a CRM platform geared towards helping businesses grow. We have products across marketing, sales, service, CMS. We cover the entire gamut. So a business will be able to do all of these products, all of these processes in one single place. So our business is guided by this idea of inbound marketing. Now, inbound marketing is the phrase and the ideology that our founders came up with when they met back in 2006 at MIT Sloan Business School. They came up with this idea of inbound marketing because they felt like marketing was changing and it wasn't working as effectively the way it used to, where the businesses do all what we call outbound marketing. They kind of go out to the customers. With marketing changing, they wanted to figure out a way to bring customers to businesses with more personalization throughout the marketing process. And from that, the idea of inbound marketing was born. So what this has evolved to today, it's gone through a bunch of iterations. We used to be a funnel, and now we find ourselves with this flywheel model. And what you see on the outside of this flywheel model is the buyer's journey, where someone is a stranger. They don't know who you are. They've never heard of HubSpot. From there, they can become a prospect of HubSpot once they find out about who we are. From becoming a prospect, they become an opportunity and then become a customer of HubSpot. They love HubSpot service. They love HubSpot's product. They then become a promoter of HubSpot. That is the buyer's journey. Now, what we see here is the inbound methodology on the flywheel. And what we want to do is we want to help businesses spin this flywheel faster and faster. And the faster we can help businesses spin this flywheel, we see that to represent growth. And as you can see here, the 3 phases, attract, engage, and delight, of the inbound methodology align perfectly with the buyer's journey. So we want to attract strangers, turn them into prospects. We want to engage our prospects, and through engagement, we want to turn them into customers. And with an amazing service or product, we want to delight them and turn them into promoters of our product. And like I said before, our goal is to continue to spin this flywheel. Any questions before I move forward?
No question for me.
What's up, Tyrese?
I said I didn't have a question. Thank you for asking.
You said no questions?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if I may ask, what would be a question you would think it would be necessary for us to ask? Is there something we're missing?
Alejandro, I don't think I mean, there's a lot of different pieces of HubSpot. I don't necessarily know if there are any questions that you would necessarily need to ask at the moment, but this may be the first time you guys are hearing some of this information. So I want to make sure that you guys are understanding me clearly as I take you through step by step, kind of a high level overview of HubSpot. So nothing in particular that I would imagine off the top of my head that you guys need to ask, but in case I wasn't clear, you guys are not understanding anything clearly, please let me know. I want to make sure I can make that process easier for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So moving forward, what is a CRM platform? And I think it was Brandon, my namesake there, that mentioned CRM as a sales tool. And a lot of people hear CRM and think sales tool, but HubSpot is so much more than that. We're a CRM platform. Keyword being platform, not CRM. We incorporate multiple processes, multiple functions into one place. And so you'll see here, CRM platform promises a single source of truth that empowers your front office teams to deepen their relationship with customers and provide best-in-class experience. And so the way, the mindset we use to guide our product these days is we want to make sure that we're tying in these 5 elements to every single thing we do. And I'm going to talk to you about each product and how they tie in these 5 different elements. But the 5 different elements are, as you can see here, data, content, messaging, automation, and reporting. And so you'll see with all HubSpot stuff, a lot of the time you'll see this this phrase, crafted, not cobbled. Any idea what that means? Just want to ask you guys out there, and just feel free to come off of mute. Any idea what crafted, not cobbled means?
I think it's kind of coming at an angle where it's not just selling products to a company just to sell them the products, and instead is tailoring the experience specifically for said company.
Tailoring experience for who?
The company that we're trying to help out.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely part of it. Anybody else?
It can be that you characterize what you're offering for a specific company. So you're just not offering one product, but you characterized it to really maximize the use that the company can, like, or their needs, like, for them. So you customize it for them, maybe, so you can, like, that's the crafted world, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Anybody else? I'll take one more.
I'd say it's like a play on words, how a cobblestone road doesn't go smoothly, and something crafted would be like a smooth road. And the way it plays into like the CRM platform would be that the way you go from the sale to communicating between teams, every single aspect of it is unified together and it rolls smoothly. There's no gaps or like any problems in between. There's nothing bumpy going on when each team's communicating throughout the process of a sale and like spinning that wheel that you were talking about.
Yeah, Brandon, I think that's definitely you're definitely headed in the right direction. And I love that analogy of a cobblestone road versus something that you would see as crafted. A lot of our competitors, let's say a Salesforce, a Constant Contact, maybe let's say a Marketo, the way that they've grown is through acquisitions of other companies. However, they don't unify those companies under their banner and their user experience / user interface. And so oftentimes you have customers trying to create experiences, but they're cobbling all of these different platforms together. And that ends up being a way more cobbled experience for, in turn, their customers. Whereas HubSpot, our growth has happened all under our banner. Anything that we purchase, it's unified. The UX is unified under HubSpot. Everything is a pretty seamless experience, from CRM to marketing to sales to service to CMS. Everything is unified with that best-in-class user interface that HubSpot offers. So when you grow with HubSpot, you can grow with HubSpot products, and you, as our customer, will have a crafted, not cobbled experience, but also it'll be a lot easier for you to offer a crafted, not cobbled experience for your customers as well. And you see here, HubSpot CRM platform, a united platform, keyword being united, to help you grow better, gain access to the foundational tools you need, whichever plan you use. And so some of our goals are to unify your marketing, sales, and service databases. We want to share context between teams. And this is one of the most important pillars of HubSpot, because as we've grown as a company, a big issue that we saw in our target market is that different parts of the organization that use and leverage the same pieces of information were all siloed from each other. So marketing is providing leads to the sales team. The sales team is providing customers to the service team. All three of these teams work with the same customers. They work with similar information about these customers, but their data was siloed. Marketing is keeping things to themselves. Sales is keeping things to themselves. Service is keeping things to themselves. One of our goals was to tear down those silos and to make and to increase transparency amongst teams, to give your customers, as our customer, a more seamless, unified experience. And last but not least, we want to help you organize and track customer communications. Same idea, marketing, sales, service, all reaching out to some of the same people. Let's not have everybody reaching out to the same people, or let's not have the salesperson reaching out to someone who is super mad with the service team right now. They have an open ticket. They're having a lot of problems. Like, let's all share the same contact record so we can have an understanding of what's going on with that contact before actively reaching out to them. And that's a more thoughtful, a more human experience when you find yourself reaching out to a contact, and over time, they're going to appreciate that experience. All right, so first up, I've mentioned some of our different hubs. Our main 4 hubs are going to be our marketing hub, our sales hub, our service hub, and our CMS hub. All of these different hubs, they all lay on top of our CRM. So all of them tie into the same place. And the goal of our marketing hub, we think of this idea of CRM-powered marketing. And that's having everything that you need to get found, engage new people, and nurture them into leads that sales will love. So our 3 goals with Marketing Hub are to attract attention, convert more leads, and to report and customize. So as we think of attracting attention, this is one of the core components as you think about inbound marketing and this idea of the inbound methodology, because you want to help drive leads to you as a business. HubSpot, we want to bring leads to us. We don't want to have to go out and get all of our leads. That is always going to take place, but we want to bring leads to us. We don't want to invade them a bunch of commercials. We want them to want our content. So what do? If you've seen HubSpot's website, if you've seen some of our content online, that is all meant to engage our target market. We create content based on what we think our target market will like. So if we are creating a blog post for marketers, we're going to talk about the future of content marketing, how we use content marketing, how you can use content marketing for your business, how to create effective email campaigns. That's something that marketers care about. And so they go and they Google these things. The HubSpot blog comes up. they end up on our website, they end up subscribing to our blog, they end up downloading content. We then organically add them to our email database, and now we're sending them similar content based on information that we already know that they're interested in. So very seamlessly there, we created a blog that's going to help us increase SEO on our website, that's going to help attract attention to us, bring people to our website, and then when they convert on our lead to our convert as a lead on our website, we've converted them from a visitor to a lead, and then through email marketing, we can nurture them. Now, there's a bunch of different pieces I described to you, a very simple sequence of events. There's a lot of different areas of marketing that we can get into, but large in part, that's the experience that we want to create. And with everything that we're doing in marketing, all of these different blog posts, all of these different emails, these posts on social media, paid ads that we're posting, we want to understand how everything is helping us. Like, just because we're doing it doesn't mean it's helping. We're going to be able to do that by reporting and customization and understanding how things are benefiting us or how things are not benefiting us at every single step of the process. So we know that if we're creating any bottlenecks, we can alleviate that pressure and create a more seamless, that crafted experience for our own prospects. And so looking forward, Marketing Hub is meant to use data to segment and target audiences flawlessly. That data is a super key component of HubSpot because we are a CRM platform. The CRM only gets stronger with the more data that you have. We want to leverage automation to nurture contacts and hand off warm leads. We don't just want to hand off leads to the sales team. We want to hand off warm leads, leads that are going to be easier for the sales team to close. That's one of the benefits of inbound marketing, is that the marketing team is going to provide the sales team with better quality leads. We want to create consistent content without the help of a web developer. That's a super important piece of HubSpot, is content creation and the ability for businesses to be able to now do that without the help of a web developer. There's a bunch of companies that offer that now, but when we first started doing that, there weren't a lot of companies like this out there that were geared to help people drive people to your website. We were one of the early adopters of this mindset of the easy drag and drop website editor. As I mentioned, reporting on the ROI of your marketing efforts and keeping keeping your messaging. Did I do something here? Let's see. I don't know when I drew that. Sorry, guys. And then keep your messaging consistent across all platforms. And that has to do with tearing those wall downs and creating a transparent and seamless experience across multiple departments. That's going to allow you to keep your messaging consistent. All right. Oops. Take a look at our Sales Hub. Time-saving tools that give deeper insights into prospect, automate busy work, and help you close more deals faster. We want to help our Sales Hub, which integrates seamlessly into our Marketing Hub. Can everybody hear me okay? Am I freezing? I just saw that I have an unstable connection. Just a thumbs up or...
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been hearing and seeing you fine.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I saw unstable connection. I know Zoom and we're in a virtual environment. Things are different. I want to make sure you guys are hearing me clearly. But HubSpot sales tools, we want to help our customers start conversations, deepen relationships, and manage your pipeline. Now, starting conversations, that's the part of the sales process that my team works in. And it's one of the most important parts of the sales process, if you ask me. I'm going to ask you guys, as people who are going into a global sales competition, why is starting conversations for HubSpot business or for one of our customers, why is that such an important part of the process?
Well, starting conversations is what generates meetings and strengthens leads into, like I said, a meeting where you could potentially make a sale and get a little bit more in depth on your product.
Yeah. Yep. Anybody else? Starting conversations is going to help you increase the value of your what? It does help you build rapport, but I'm looking for a specific word, and the word is on this slide. Not product.
Of your relationship?
Nope.
No.
Increase the value of what?
Of your pitch to the company?
Nope. Nope.
Prospects.
Give you guys one more guess.
Pipeline.
Yes, Tyrese, pipeline. Starting conversations is going to help you increase the value of your pipeline. Pipeline is important because it is a track statistic. So if we know that on average, we're closing 30% of what's in our pipeline, then if we're increasing the size of our pipeline, then by proxy, we should be increasing the amount of revenue that we're closing. So that's an easy way to add revenue dollars to your bottom line. Now, we want to help start conversations, deepen those relationships throughout the sales process. And then last but not least, that word I mentioned, manage your pipeline and provide useful insights to the business, not only at the management level, but at the executive level, at the top of the business. They need these analytics to plan and make decisions on their business as well. And you'll see at the bottom, as we looked at marketing, it was about reporting and organizing. At the bottom of sales, it's about managing your pipeline. It's still based in reporting. We want to make sure that at every step of the process, we're providing those key analytics to help the business make important decisions. So as you'll see here, same things: data, automation, content, reporting, and messaging. We want to use data to help your outreach and predict pipeline health. That data helps personalize outreach, which creates more effective outreach. We want to leverage automation to make prospecting easier for the salespeople inside the organization. If we can make life easier for the salespeople inside the organization, we're going to increase their efficiency, which is also going to increase their output, and that's going to increase. That's going to also increase our bottom line. We want to create sales enablement content that's accessible and on brand. Again, enabling our sales team. We want to report on rep efficiency with robust forecasting and sales analytics, so we can make sure we're making the most out of each and every salesperson. And last but not least, keep messaging consistent across all touch points. This is that same data that's going to be used across the organization: marketing, sales, service, understanding what each department's goal is, what each department's messaging is, and making sure that's consistent across the experience, so your customers can have a what? Crafted, not cobbled experience. Now we look into Service Hub. Service Hub is meant to target your customers after they become a customer. That's the part of the experience where Service Hub lives. It should not be working with people prior to becoming a customer. This is all after they become a customer. If we have to onboard our customers, there's a specific onboarding process that's typically going to happen in Service Hub. If our customer has an issue and we need to open up a ticket, that is also going to happen in Service Hub. If we want to measure the overall happiness of our customers, that is going to happen in Service Hub. If there's a live support chat, these things all live in Service Hub. We want to make sure the customers have a smooth experience once they become our customer, and we want to make sure our customers are happy, as we want to make sure that we are a customer-focused business. Now, Service Hub, customer service software that gives you all the tools you need to provide world-class service efficiently, enriching customer relationships and delighting customers as you scale. So we want to unite teams and channels with things like ticketing, team management. We want to help scale support with something like a knowledge base. Has anybody ever seen a knowledge base? Do you guys know what that is?
No.
So a knowledge base is an area on a website that's meant to deflect ticket creation. So it's like a DIY area on a website. You have questions, we want to send you to our FAQs or comment articles, so you don't have to come and deal with a person to open a ticket. That level of ticket deflection is going to help you save money in terms of employees, and it's going to help you run leaner as an organization. Another way that HubSpot is going to help make you more efficient and add dollars to your bottom line and increase profitability. And last but not least, we want to power proactive service. So we want to better understand what are the problems that our customers are having with reporting, and we want to make sure we get to those problems before our customers have them to create a more crafted, not cobbled experience. And so using data, here it goes again, data, automation, content, report, and messaging. We want to use data to understand the complete history of every single customer, what they've been through with marketing, sales. We want to use automation to help resolve customer issues quickly. That creates a better customer experience, create knowledge-based content that aligns with our brand. We want to report on customer insights so we can make sure we're understanding our customers, how happy they are, and where we can improve on our own process, and tackle all of your messaging right in the CRM. So whether you're sending them an email, whether you're making a phone call, or whether you're having a conversation with them on a live chat, all of that is going to happen in one place. You don't have to use multiple platforms. All of that and information from all of those touch points will happen in the same place. And the last hub we're going to tackle is our CMS hub. Our CMS hub is for companies that want to actually build their website on HubSpot. So think of WordPress, think of Squarespace. HubSpot has their own, but it's going to live in the same place with everything else. It's going to live in the same place with marketing, sales, and service. So you're creating your entire customer experience all in one place. So we want to help you guys create remarkable websites, create remarkable website experiences with ease, optimize and personalize our website, and manage our growing digital presence. Using data to build these experiences, we want to understand what our prospects are looking for. We want to make sure we can deliver that experience. Leverage automation to help scale your website, create better content by removing gatekeepers. So no longer do I have to say, I want to do this and have someone build my website. I have a website builder that can only use HTML to build the website. You as a marketer can build these websites yourself. You then want to report and optimize the effectiveness and how the website is doing. And then once again, keep messaging consistent across all touch points. All right, so before we go into the competition format, number one, I want to check if there are any questions on what I've spoken about regarding HubSpot thus far.
Is there an operations hub as well, or is that just all internally?
There is an operations hub. Operations hub is more so about integrating with other products. So I didn't want to tackle that too much today, but it affects the way that data flows in and out of your database. So HubSpot is supposed to be considered the single source of truth. And we understand that everybody isn't going to only use HubSpot, isn't going to only use our products. So when we want to integrate with other platforms, we have people purchase Data Hub to help information flow seamlessly in and out of those platforms at the time and in the way they want it to. So if you say, whenever I do this in, let's say, Salesforce, and I want information to update in HubSpot, that's what Operations Hub is going to help you do. It's going to make sure those syncs happen at the right time and they happen in the right way.
Okay, and what are some common platforms or other businesses that you integrate and work with?
Salesforce is a popular one. Zendesk is a popular one. WordPress is a popular one. Gong is another popular one. Asana is another popular one. There are tons. I think we have like well over 500 integrations available in our marketplace.
Oh, wow. Okay,
and
thank you.
if the integration isn't available in our marketplace, you can literally just build a custom integration into HubSpot. So, I mean, we can integrate with pretty much any other platform, depending on how you want that data to flow through.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Great question. Anybody else? All right. So before we go into the competition format, we will say we've been on here for a little bit. We'll take a quick 2-minute break. Allow you to take a quick bio break or anything you need, and I will be right back here in 2 minutes. So that'll be 1:38 p.m. my time. All right. So 2 minutes is up. I am personally not the biggest meeting person, so I don't want you guys sitting here for 90 minutes without being able to at least stretch your legs. So I want to give you at least one 2-minute break. Let's see how we're moving and see if we can squeeze in another. But let's get back to it and talk about the competition format. Before I get into the competition format, I want to just ask everybody, anybody had any questions they want to ask about this, anything I've said thus far? And you guys notice I ask, like, if you guys have questions a lot. It's a key piece of the sales process. So my mindset is always to check for understanding and make sure everybody's on the same page. So I apologize if I am annoying you guys, but want to make sure if I check that I check if anybody has questions before I move on once more. All right, so let's talk about the competition format. So you will compete in English and or Spanish. There will be 3 competition rounds for each language, and each round is meant to simulate a stage of the sales process. So round one is simulating what's called the connect call. It's like an initial call between you and a prospect. So number 1, you want to get to know the prospect. Number 2, you want to gather information to discover any issues the prospect may be experiencing. And number 3, the most important part, is that you want to secure a second meeting to further the sales process. Now, for an imaginary $100, who can tell me what is the goal outside of, obviously, the top priority is to secure a second meeting? What do you want to accomplish? What are you trying to get agreement on the connect call?
You're trying to get them to understand that they have a problem and that there is something that can be done about it. So you're trying to, you know, put into words that they have a problem and what that problem is.
Joseph, an imaginary $100 for Joseph. Yes, you want to get agreement that there is a problem, that there is a pain, and you want to make sure you do a little bit of digging in that pain. But if you don't have a problem in that first meeting, well, guess what? There is no second meeting. There's no reason for you guys to have a second meeting if you don't get agreement that there is a problem. So you're not selling a solution. You're not doing any of that. You're not pitching HubSpot. You just want to get agreement that there is a problem that is affecting their business. Once we have agreement that there is a problem that is affecting their business, we now have a reason to have a second meeting. And if they push back on you, if they give an objection about having that second meeting, you have a reason, you have a way to overcome that objection because you now understand that they are having a pain in some way, shape, or form. Good job to Joseph. Round 2, you want to gather this is what we call the discovery call. And most salespeople will tell you that the discovery call is the most important piece of the sales process. The big purpose of the discovery call is to gather additional information. So I'll read off the slide. You want to gather additional information to discover any issues a prospect may be experiencing since the last meeting. This is when you start to present a possible solution. So it's a bit longer of a call. You want to start to present or position your platform or service as a solution that benefits and solves the prospect's issues. So now we're going to get a little bit more into this idea of a solution. And last but not least, we wanted to secure a final meeting to further the sales process. In terms of a final meeting in HubSpot world, that final meeting or one of the final meetings or the final meeting for you guys is going to be a product demo. That is when you fully build out. Let's go to round 3. You fully build out a presentation on your solution for the prospect. So in our world, we show them the platform and we show them how this platform is going to be used to solve the problems that they're having. So you want to gather any last details about the issues a prospect may be experiencing since the last meeting. So questioning. I'm always questioning you guys to see if you guys have any questions. You guys are always questioning the prospect to see if any new issues have come up. You want to present a possible solution that benefits and solves the prospect's issue. If the prospect has an issue, has a problem, they have a pain, and you have an issue that solves their pain, what are you providing to them? What is that word?
Value.
Yes. Yes, David, that word is value. If they have a pain, if they have a problem that is affecting their business, you have a product that solves for that pain and is going to benefit their business. You are providing them with value. Value is such an important word in the sales process. If you don't have value, you likely do not have a sale. Last but not least, you want to use this round 3 to close a deal with a prospect based on the solution you provide, based on the value that you provide to them. All right, what's next here? All right, so the seller's guide for the competition can be downloaded at this website right here. I'll copy this link address and post in the chat. I'm not sure if there's any other content to download. I think that this looks like some initial content. Gabby, are you still in the call? Looks like we might have lost Gabby. I don't get too deep in the weeds in terms of the competition. Oh, Gabby, looks like you are there. Is there any additional information they need to download, or will this link suffice? Okay, well, whenever we get Gabby back, she can let you guys know if there's any other information that you guys will need to download. But I did drop this link in the chat here. You guys should be able to work off that information. And I'm sorry I did not get too deep into the details of the competition, so please forgive me. I do apologize. Let's see. All right, so let's go into how you guys are judged. You're judged, number one, on the approach. So you talk about that connect call. You talk about that rapport build. I saw someone mentioned that word rapport in the chat. You talk about your approach, the identification of needs. So important. If you cannot identify a problem, pain, understand needs, it's going to be hard to hold that sales process together. The better you can pull out that information, the better you can make your presentation. I did not mean to make that rhyme, but you know. And then not last but not least, but then product presentation. That's going to be round 3 of that sales process where you have the product presentation. Also, overcoming obstacles and objections, your closing skills, and your general sales skills. The weight of each category changes by round. So, question in the chat, in round 1 and 2, you mentioned gathering information to discover issues. What would you say is the information between these two? So in round one, you're just gathering some high-level information just to get an understanding that there's a problem. In round, so in round 1, you're gathering high-level information just to get agreement that there is a problem. Round 2, you want to go a little bit deeper into what pain is that problem causing in the business? What metrics is that problem affecting? Where are you guys currently at right now? And if in order to fix this problem, what would you consider successful? You get a little bit deeper into the pain, the metrics, how it's affecting the business, and what an ideal solution would look like for them. Whereas round 1, you just want to get agreement that a pain does exist, and you want to help and you want to leverage that pain to schedule a second meeting. Round 2, you're going deeper in that pain, but now your goal for round 2, instead of getting agreement around a pain, you understand there is a pain, you want to go deeper in the pain, you want to get buy-in on a solution. So round 1, get agreement on a pain. Round 2, get buy-in that you have a solution in place that's a fit for their pain. Round 3, present the solution, close the sale. So you have different goals in each round. But as I mentioned, just like I'm always asking guys, are you guys understanding? Do you guys have questions? You want to always make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So you want to always be digging for additional pain. Can you give some guidance on how much depth is appropriate for the product presentation in round one? Should salespeople provide some detail on each hub, or only focus on the hubs that seem relevant based on needs? Well, round one, you should not be focused on product presentation. I don't think that was in round one. Yeah, round one, there is no product presentation. Like I said, the goal for round one is getting agreement that there is a problem. You start to present the product as a solution in round two. And in round two, you pitch a bit more of a general solution for the problems that they're having. This is typically how we solve these problems. In round three, you present a way more in-depth personalized solution. So I would say in round two, your questioning is about 80% of the 70-80% of the call. You are presenting a solution 20 to 30% of the time, a little bit more high level. In round three, that's going to be flipped. Your meeting is going to be a lot more revolved around a solution. Steve, number one, Steve and George, am I answering your questions? Yes to Steve, George. Yes. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question, which is in round one, let's say you're meeting a client and straight off the bat, you say, hey, I'm Joseph from HubSpot, blah, blah, blah. And they know nothing about HubSpot. They know nothing about CRM. And therefore, naturally, they have a bunch of questions for you. What's a good way, like how much do you want to be answering their questions about what it is you do, what it is you offer? You know, not wanting to be rude and say, oh, I'd love to get to that next meeting. Because I can imagine some clients may, in that first meeting, you know, they know what their problems are, they know what their issues are, and so all they care about is asking you about what you can provide. How do you get around that?
Yeah, so on these calls, it's important that you want to stay in control. So when you talk about when you have a prospect ask you what you guys do, and you guys are just getting on that initial call, I'm going to start around a problem. So have you heard, so I started around a company. Hey, so oftentimes companies are disconnected from their marketing, sales team, and their service teams. We help companies connect all three of those processes while growing their business from a marketing and sales standpoint, all in one place. And so you kind of start with a problem and work your way back. Make sure they're familiar with the problem that you're speaking about, and talk about what you solve for, as opposed to simply just giving them a general pitch on your business. Am I making sense when I say that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Thank you.
Would a visual aid in round one be helpful? Not as much in round one. In round two, definitely. So yeah, I believe a visual aid will definitely be helpful in round two. Round one, not as, I don't think it will be as necessary. Gabby, do you have any insight on any of these questions? I want to make sure I'm giving out the correct information. Okay. All right. Any additional questions?
Sorry about that. Which question did you want me to answer, Brandon?
I mean, I'm just answering questions. I want to make sure I'm not providing any incorrect information.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I had just stepped away, but I'm looking in the chat. Yes, you're gonna have access to this recording. It will be up on the GBSC website tomorrow, once it's done processing, and the same with the one that we're doing on the 7th as well. So it is going to be up on the GBSC website, and I'm going to send out an email once that is done. I recommend that everyone take a look at the scoring guidelines that are on the website. I'm going to put a link in the chat so that you understand how it is that you are being scored, what the weights are for each portion of the role play for each different round. So I think Brandon had mentioned, you know, in the first round, there's not like a big focus on product presentation. That is only about, I think, 10%. of your total score of what the judges are going to be looking at in the first one. So I'm just putting the link there. And it's under category weights. And so if you open that document, you'll see that for example, on the round one, you're being charged, you're being judged mostly on the identification of needs. So that's 50%. The approach is 15%. The product presentation is only 10%, overcoming obstacles 10%, and then your closing is 5%. And then what we call general skills is 10%. And if you want to look at what the questions are that we ask the judges, it's on the page that's right before that, which is titled Scoring Sample Score Sheet. So you'll see kind of like what they're being asked for each one of those portions. So I just recommend that you look at that. It does change based on the round that you're in. In round two, there's a much bigger focus on the product presentation. In the final round, the biggest focus is on the product presentation and the closing.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Also, a question in the chat from Franco. In what round should we touch base on pricing? Well, it's most important to touch base on pricing in round two, because oftentimes pricing, it could be a reason why people don't buy your product. And if you have any thought around an objection that may come up in the sales process, you want to beat your prospect to it. If you beat your prospect to it, you get to maintain control. So pricing is something you want to go over naturally. Your second call is when you're initially providing a solution. You want to give them an idea of how much that solution is going to cost prior to the third call. And make sure they have the budget available, because if they don't have the budget available, then everybody's going to be wasting their time. And you don't want to waste your time as a salesperson. You definitely don't want to waste your prospect's time. So in the essence of making sure everyone's time is valued, you definitely want to get agreement on price in that second round, and then go ahead and confirm that price in round number 3.
I recommend introducing. Can they hear me?
I think so. Try. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yes, it looks like Nicolo.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Try to speak up. It's I don't know how far you are from the mic, but I can hear you.
My question was how do you recommend, or at least introducing budgets, or to dig deeper into that, what their budget would look like, just so that it doesn't become an obstacle later into the sale?
Yeah. So when I've always been taught, like, when you're in sales, you're kind of like a doctor. So you get symptoms, and based off of the symptoms that a customer is having, you say, oh, well, you're sick with X. And because you're a doctor, on the medication that is needed to solve for X. The medication is that you're going to sell them. We're going to prescribe you with X. The reason we're prescribing with X is because of you're experiencing X, Y, Z, and it has these features or benefits that's going to help you solve them. This runs about, and typically you want to kind of toss out that price. You want to make it seem like it's not, even if it's like a huge deal to you, you make it seem like that cost isn't a big deal, because that's what they need to solve their business. And you don't want to make it seem like they're solving a lot of money, because the value should be equivalent. Honestly, the price shouldn't be anything compared to the value that they're going to get from this platform. So you toss the price out there and ask them, hey, and you just ask them how it sounds and stay silent. Now, oftentimes you think about price, especially if you're not used to having these conversations, as a bit more of a sensitive topic and an awkward topic to discuss. As a salesperson, you kick down that door. You mentioned this is what you're experiencing. This is what it's going to take to fix it, and this is how much it costs. And you say, how does that sound? And you go silent. You go silent. It may seem awkward at first, but that's a part of the game. Like that's how you sell, and you have to get that buy-in. You have money set aside for this investment. You can ask questions around that. You can ask multiple questions to make sure they have budget, because if they don't have budget, you all are wasting your time. You don't want to waste their time, and you damn sure don't want your time wasted. So make sure you get buy-in around price.
Okay. And another one, just lead it off of that, because I feel like maybe an objection can probably be a client that's trying to commoditize your product, right? They'll be like, well, I have Salesforce, or I'm familiar with Salesforce. And how do you advise us to emphasize more on the value of HubSpot, so that we're not running into any commoditization type of objections, meaning like they're gonna try to base this off of price?
Yeah, so you run into this idea of commoditization when you get into feature selling. So when you say, well, we have this, you don't have marketing automation, well, we have marketing automation. When you get into that, that's when you commoditize your product. When you get into the pain that they're experiencing, not only they don't have marketing automation, so leads are dropping out of their process, their pipeline isn't big enough and they're losing revenue. You solve the pain. You don't talk about, oh, we have marketing automation because you don't have marketing automation. You understand the pain that they're having and you provide a solution for that pain. And that's how you move away from commoditizing your product, when you talk about the pain and the solution, and you create value. Once you create that value, you're kind of moving yourself away from the other salespeople who you may be competing against.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Any other questions here before we move on? All right. So let's acknowledge that people generally distrust salespeople. And you will see the classic picture of a used car salesman. I personally have never seen a used car salesman dressed like this, but in everybody's mind, used car salesmen are like the worst dressed people, and quite honestly, some of the worst people in the world. They really have a bad rap. But it does maintain true that people generally distrust salespeople. Why do you guys think that is?
A lot of times, people have been on the wrong end of sales in terms of like false advertising. So it's like they're over invested into a product thinking that it will solve their issues, only to be more disappointed and wasting their money.
So they've had bad experiences in the past. I think that's a great call out. Anybody else?
The way that they're shown in a lot of media tends to show salespeople as sharks.
They have a bad reputation in the media. Yeah, that's a great call out. Subconsciously, they're being sold this idea that salespeople are bad people. They can tend to focus only on meeting their quota rather than the customer needs. Yes, Ellie, that's a really good call out. People understand, and I think that's one of the biggest ones. People understand that if you buy, that salesperson stands to benefit. And oftentimes, people are going to look at you like, hey, you're worried about yourself. You're not really worried about me. And that's why making sure you understand their experience, what they're going through, their pain is so important, because you want to be labeled as a customer advisor. As a sales, that's the goal for most salespeople, for your prospect to look at you as a customer advisor, someone they can trust almost as a consultant for their business, and getting out of that salesperson role. And once you can live as a customer advisor / consultant, if you can start to fit in that box, you're going to have way more value and way more rapport with the prospect that you're trying to sell to. So let's talk about the approach. Rapport building is about meeting people on their turf and treating them how they want to be treated. Now, quite honestly, this is not my strongest area as a salesperson. There are a lot of people better at rapport building than me, and it's an important part of the process. Now, I tended to be a little bit more general in the rapport building area, but it's not too difficult to be really good at rapport building. Research your prospects beforehand, understand your prospect's persona, get your prospects to laugh. It doesn't matter what it is, but like getting them to laugh often has to do with researching them beforehand. Maybe their school just played in a big championship game. Maybe they have some crazy weather hitting their particular area. Maybe you have some crazy weather hitting your area. Maybe your school just lost a big game or something like that. Generally, funny things get your prospects to laugh. It kind of disarms them a bit, because people don't trust salespeople. So with people not trusting salespeople, this approach is so important, because you want to start to disarm that prospect so you can actively sell to them. And then understand, when you have 30 minutes on a call, don't spend 25 minutes rapport building. You wasted all of your time. You have to understand when to switch the sales conversation and set an upfront contract. And here's a blog post about how to build rapport, just about anyone. It's a HubSpot blog post. I talked about that before. We have blog posts to target our target audience. We have sales tools. Salespeople are going to wonder how to build rapport. That's likely something they search for. They're going to find a HubSpot blog. Now they're on our website. Step one, attract people to our website. That's complete. That's the inbound marketing process in motion right there. All right. So during the approach, do not simply say hello and go straight to business. Do not do that. If you did that, you literally did not build rapport. You ignored that entire part of the process. But on the other end of the spectrum, do not spend too much time building rapport. You only have a certain amount of time with this particular prospect, and their time is valuable. These are busy people. You only have a certain amount of time to keep their attention. Make sure you understand that, you value their time, and you make the most use of it. What you do want to do, you want to introduce yourself and the company. You want to connect at a personal level to build trust, establish the reason and agenda for the call, and transition smoothly into the needs identification. Next, set an upfront contract. Setting an upfront contract is one of the most important pieces of your discovery call. So this is going to happen typically in round number 2. This is not a round number of the approach. That's going to be round number 1 and a little bit of round number 2. Setting an upfront contract is going to take place in round number 2. In setting an upfront contract, you're trying to set what for the prospect? What are you trying to set? Excuse me?
Commitment?
No, it's close. You're getting commitment, but you have to set what? Set proper.
Say it again.
Expectations?
Yes, someone said it. I think someone on the colo screen. You are setting proper expectations. And that's the key word here. You don't want the prospect to be surprised by any part of the sales process. And think about you and your experience in buying something, in anything. Like, what does the professor do at the beginning of semester? He or she is going to set expectations on what this semester is going to look like. You do the same thing for your prospect. Hey, if we move forward with this, this is what you can expect. It's sort of disarming any objections that the prospect may have in advance and kind of looking for those objections. If they have a problem or they have an objection, you want to find that as early as possible so you can overcome it. So if they have any problem, if the timelines for anything, this is one of the times where you start to dig for those objections earlier on in the sales process. So how do you set an upfront contract? Appreciate the time. Does 10 minutes still work? Naturally, you have questions about HubSpot. The purpose of today is to understand what you're hoping to get from HubSpot, answer questions, and determine if it makes sense to continue an evaluation. Obviously, to help us understand, I have some questions about your current process, to understand some of your challenges, how you sell, etc. Because the better I understand, we can understand how we can add value. Some of the wording's off here. I apologize. Typically, at the end of this, we'll either have alignment or we'll agree it's not a fit at the moment, at which point I can send you some introductory resources. So 10 minutes, you should have about 30 or 45 for the discovery call, but you're taking the prospect through the agenda and what today is going to look like. Because you're going to be asking them a lot of questions. We mentioned identification of needs. You don't want it to seem like an interview. The prospect took this call with you so they can get more information, and then you just start asking them a bunch of questions. That's a bad experience. If you set the expectation that you're going to be asking these questions, why you're going to be asking these questions, that's going to help the call just run a bit smoother. And then one thing that's not listed here in terms of setting the upfront contract is you want to tell them the appropriate length of the sales process. So you mentioned typically at the end of this, we'll have alignment or we'll agree it's not a fit at the moment. If it is a fit, we'll be looking to get you back for a demo in about 2 weeks. And if the demo call goes well, I'm looking to bring you on as a customer. Altogether, this takes usually 2 to 3 weeks. You set that expectation about what the sales process is going to look like and approximately how long it's going to take. That way, if there's a time objection, if their timeline and the timeline that you're thinking is not aligned, you give them an opportunity right there to let you know, well, hey, we're not looking to implement this until X. And now add additional information, you can start to adjust your mindset about what their timeline is, or you can make sure you're selling them towards making their timeline a little bit smaller and why they need to reduce their timeline. But understanding their timeline and your timeline isn't aligned, that's important information to have up front. All right, their world, their role. So in round 2, when you're starting to gather a little bit more information about this prospect, what do they sell? How do they sell it? Who do they sell it to? One question that I absolutely love is how much does their product cost? One of the reasons that I love how much their product costs, it'll tell me a little bit more about close to how much money they're making, but also I love with HubSpot customers that have more expensive products because it always helps me overcome the price objection. Because if they sell a product that's $20,000 and my solution is $60,000, well, 3 customers will justify the cost of my solution. That's not a lot at all. And HubSpot can definitely help you grow at a minimum of three customers. So that's one of the many reasons that I love this idea of ASP, but it's a really important question in the sales process. Who are some of your competitors? What makes your company stand out? Now, personally, you want to understand what's their role? What are their responsibilities? What matters to them? How are they measured? Why are they having this conversation right now as opposed to somebody else? Are they a decision maker? What does the decision-making process look like? And like I said before, how do they make decisions? So understanding in round 2, if this is the decision maker, is so important. If this is not the decision maker, you want to understand either A, how you can get to the decision maker, or B, how you can make sure the decision makers are on the next call in round 3. And lastly, what is the impact of the success of this project on their role, right? Like I said before, why are they doing this evaluation as opposed to somebody else? Who cares about it? Who else in the organization is this going to affect? And just a star here, if you realize this is not your decision maker, not a big deal. Recognize they are not the DM, figure out what is important to them and what they have to win or lose with this project. Can you involve the DM in the process? Asking effective questions. Why are questions so important? That's for you guys.
Questions help to unveil the needs and problems that they're facing, as well as it allows you to take account of whether you're getting through to them. So you won't be wasting both persons' times.
Yes. Good, Tyrese. Anybody else? All right. Ahead. Next question. What's the difference between an open-ended versus a closed question?
Closed questions are usually based on yes or no's, and open-ended questions allow the person you're questioning to really get into the answer, and it can provide very valuable information to you.
David, perfect. Yes. Close-ended is going to be usually yes or no, one word type of answers. And an open-ended question is going to is going to force somebody to speak a little bit. When you think about how was your day? Sometimes people could say, my day was good, my day was bad. When you ask them, what did you do today? That's an open-ended question. It's going to force them to speak a little bit more. What type of question is better in the sales process?
Open-ended.
Why?
Because you want your buyer to be able to say as much as possible, and you don't want them to feel like you're just speaking from your perspective and don't care about their opinion.
Yeah. I mean, what's the downside if the prospect gives you a close, if you ask the prospect to close at a question and they give you a one-word answer.
You're not really gathering as much data as possible. It's just going to be a very brief meeting, and you're not going to really have the best possible outcome in round two, or you're not going to make it to round two.
Exactly. You're not doing a good job gathering information if you're getting one-word answers. And here's an article here, another HubSpot article on 20 open-ended sales questions that'll get prospects talking. All right. Next, active listening. This is a skill. Some salespeople have it naturally. Some salespeople have to learn it. But it's something that all salespeople need to be aware of. If you're not active listening, there's no way you're not doing a good job of gathering information. You're also not doing a good job of digging for information. You need to look for things like coded language. So I speak to Salesforce customers, and when you speak to Salesforce customers, sometimes they say that Salesforce is a bit clunky. This is where active listening comes into play. Because someone who's not an active listener is going to say, okay, and move forward. Someone who's an active listener is going to say what?
You can just go like, how so? Why is it
Yeah.
clunky?
Why? How so? Tell me a little bit more about that. Someone who's an active listener is not going to accept the word clunky because that's coded language. And as an active listener salesperson, you don't really know anything about the problem the prospect is having. You just know they said clunky. What does clunky mean? You don't know. And so active listening is going to allow you to pick up on these little cues and kind of dive deeper into the needs that the prospect has. How do you signal to someone that you're actively listening?
By agreeing or by double clicking. So let's just repeating back what the customer explained to you, asking for clarification, asking more questions, follow-up questions after they give an explanation.
Yeah, I wouldn't always say it's by agreement, but I would say paraphrasing back, like you said, repeating back to them, paraphrasing back what the prospect just said to you and asking really good follow-up questions. And then we already spoke about why this is important and why it's helpful in the sales process. So during our identification of needs, this is going to take place all throughout the sales process, but most importantly, it's going to take place in round two. Do not start asking questions without setting up an upfront contract and without setting those expectations. Do not ask, don't ask a question, listen and move on. Make sure you ask follow-up questions. And then last but not least, don't try and pitch the product after one to two questions. You need to make sure you do a thorough discovery before you transition and start to pitch the product. Do make sure you actively listen and ask the next best question. Ask level 2 questions. Level 2 questions are that I push that to my team all day. When someone says they have a particular issue with their business, let's say they're not converting enough leads on their website, you want to ask how that is affecting their business, because that's how you get to that deeper level pain. So you can sell a solution to their pain and you're not just getting caught up feature selling. Make sure you're asking those level 2 questions. You want to leverage positioning statements and then spend a ton of time uncovering pain. Nicolo, we have a question.
Yes, I did. So kind of basing off what you were saying with active listening, in the beginning, whenever you were speaking about round 1, you were saying about leveraging pain points or about commitments. So having the customer commit that there is a problem. Is there any questions similar to how you said here with level 2 questions? Is there any questions that or any follow-up questions that you would recommend or that you see is effective and I guess reinforcing that the customer has that problem or touching a little more points?
Yeah. So you can approach it. It's that level 2 question. You can approach it a couple of different ways. Number 1, how is that affecting your business? Number 2, you can ask, what's going to happen if this doesn't change? You want to emphasize that if they don't change something, there's going to be a consequence to them. There's going to be a consequence to their business. And so that's how you really surface that pain, is by understanding what are the consequences if this person does not change it. What are the consequences if this person doesn't reach that goal? So you want to ask questions that emphasize consequences. One of the best ways to do that is by asking, how does this affect the business?
Thank you.
Not a problem. All right. And during your round 2, when you're identifying needs, a really good framework to use to make sure you gathered all the correct information is GPCT. That's something that's really popular here at HubSpot. GPCT stands for goals, pains, challenges, and timelines. That's simply a good framework to help you understand, what are this prospect's goals? What are their pains? What are some of their challenges towards solving those goals, towards reaching their goals? What type of challenges are some of those pains causing? And what is their timeline to reach these goals or get some of these pains fixed? So example, GPC questions, another, I think, HubSpot post here. Yes, it's another HubSpot post, and I have dropped those in the chat for you. Suggestions based off GPCT. Using GPCT to provide suggestions. So you mentioned today that you're not generating enough leads. Have you thought of leveraging a blog to generate more demand? A blog can help generate X times more leads. Make sure you're leveraging positioning statements. This is how you're going to show the prospect that you are a subject matter expert, when you can start to pitch solutions during your questioning phase. You're not going into a whole solution pitch, but you're using positioning statements during your question to show the prospect, hey, I'm a subject matter expert and I can help you solve this problem because I've seen this type of thing before. We work around this stuff all the time, and here is me flexing my knowledge a little bit. Positioning statements, typically used and said before asking a question directly to somebody, giving the why behind your question. You're not just asking them random questions. There's a method to my madness. There's a particular reason why I'm asking you this question, and that's going to make it a lot easier for them to give you the necessary information. Getting into implications and consequences, this is something I spoke about before as we talk about question asking. How is this affecting the business? The impact of nothing, what's going to happen if we don't fix it, and what is going to happen if you succeed? What does success look like? Because we want to make sure that if we're saying we solve your problem, we understand what success looks like. What do success metrics look like? So make sure you dive into what success looks like. And for your product pitch, some of the do's and don'ts. Don't start talking about your product until you finish the identification of needs. Don't list features one by one. You do not want to get into feature selling. And don't share everything hoping it sticks. Everybody's time is valuable. You share everything, they will start foaming at the mouth and they will just stop paying attention to you. You want to share what's relevant to that particular prospect. So how do you do that? Well, speak in benefits-based language based on needs identification. Language off here. Sorry about that. Do give just enough gauge their interest. Visual aid possible. In this case, for the product pitch, you want to try and show the tool and involve buyer discussion and ask trial close questions. So let's say you're showing the prospect a solution. Ask, can they see themselves using this? How will they implement this on their team? You want to ask questions about the solution that you're showing and get the prospect having a conversation about what you're showing. When you can get the prospect having a conversation, an active conversation with their team or with you about the products that you're showing, your sale is in a really good place. If they are watching you present the product and you are absolutely silent, you are not in a good place at all. So next, we talked about, let's see, questions to consider. What's the difference between features and benefits? Yeah, that's good. What are the difference between features and benefits?
A feature might be the characteristic of a product, but just because we both have the same product with the same characteristic doesn't mean we get the same benefit from it because our
Yeah.
purposes might be different.
So it kind of goes back to this idea of value, right? A feature, we offer this particular feature. We offer marketing automation, we offer reporting, whereas the benefit, you talk about the solution, the benefit of having this feature. You're not feature selling, you're talking about solutions, not just features. So there are features, you want to talk about benefits because benefits are where your value lies and you want to sell based on value. Also, what do we mean by just enough information? You want to make sure that the prospect is staying interested. You don't want to give them every single thing. You don't want to give them all of our information. You don't want to give them your entire solution. You're like, if they want consulting, they can go find a consultant. I know I mentioned the word customer advisor, consultant, but like you're not actually a consultant, you are a salesperson. And so you don't want to give the prospect every single thing up front. You want to make sure you're keeping them interested. It's providing some example visual aids. Let's see. We can skip some of this stuff. Okay. Let's go into overcoming obstacles. So overcoming obstacles is another way of talking about overcoming objections. And when overcoming objections, make sure you do not ask for the next meeting without checking for concerns. You want to make sure you're checking for concerns throughout the entire sales process. You don't want to make sure you ignore any emotional responses and go straight to the solution. If you hear some sort of concern about something that, yes, so Gabby, will they get access to this after this meeting? You should get access to this after this meeting. Don't ignore any emotional responses and go straight to the solution. If you hear any sort of hesitation, trepidation about the solution that you're presenting, make sure you dig into that. Ask, hey, like, does this work for you? How does this work for you? Do you see any issues around this? You want to make sure you're getting to those objections early so you can address them. But you also want to make sure you don't just want to like blow past people's objections. You want to make sure you're seeking to understand them, not just to overcome them. You want to understand what is the real problem in here, and make sure you acknowledge that, hey, these are real objections that I do care about. We talked about this. I told you like what type of questions you can ask about concerns. A good framework for overcoming objections is to acknowledge the prospect's concern that there is a problem, align on the emotional response they're feeling as a result of their concern, and assure that you're able to fix the issue promptly with your solution. Lastly, what is your knowledge of HubSpot? I want to make sure we're able to get to the Q and I want to make sure we're able to get to the Q&A. We've spoken a little bit about our problem. I think someone else asked about the Operations Hub. You see that here. For all of our packages, now this is important. For all of our packages, we offer 4 different levels: free, starter, professional, and enterprise. So for marketing, there's a free starter, professional, enterprise. Same thing for sales, service, CMS, and operations. Our CRM is and always will be free. And then what about AI? We do have new AI tools and features that launched in 2023 that take everything that we do and make it easier for smaller teams. You can literally speak to a ChatGPT type of platform. We call it ChatSpot, and you can have it do anything from build reports to you to write entire blog posts. It is honestly amazing. So I just saw Steve circle something. Is there a particular question there? Right. I want to get you guys, make sure we have some time. for any Q&A at the end. Closing. This is important. Don't just ask for the next meeting after the product presentation with the prospect. Don't let the product push out the next meeting. Time is your worst enemy as a salesperson. You want to get this closed as quickly as possible, but you also want to make sure that you're staying on your prospect's timeline. You don't want to disregard their timeline and exist for a reason. Do recap the highlights of the meeting. At the end of every meeting, before you go for the next meeting, you want to recap what happened today. Specifically, the pain that you uncovered and the solution that you're presenting. Especially in rounds 2 and 3. Make sure you recap that before you go and try to get the next meeting. Give it just enough intro to gauge interest. We already mentioned that. Ask for a firm future commitment. So don't get off that meeting without a firm next meeting on the calendar. If you get off the meeting without a firm next meeting on the calendar, your sales in a bad place and you are in a bad place with your sales process. And make sure you provide information about what's going to happen. Reiterate about what these next steps are going to look like. We talked about this, future firm commitment, just making sure you have the time, date, and the agenda for the next interaction. Example closing statements. All right, I want to make sure I open the floor up for questions because we went through a lot today. So we only have a few minutes left. I'm willing to stay a few minutes over. What questions do you have based on the information I gave you? And like I said, I know we flew through a lot and we kind of skimmed over some slides at the end there. You guys will get access to this presentation. Are there any particular questions that you guys have? Okay. Well, if there are no questions, I will, number one, I want to thank you guys so much for your time today. I know you guys are busy people and you decided to spend 90 minutes with me, so I really appreciate your time. I do apologize for having to skim through some of this information at the end to make sure we're able to get through the presentation. I will make sure Gabby gets this presentation so you guys have so you guys can have this and use it for your own presentation during the competition. And if you guys ever need me, I can be reached on LinkedIn or at my HubSpot email. I will drop that in the chat, bcamille@hubspot.com. But thank you so much for your time, and you guys are dismissed. Gabby, is there anything else you need from me?
No, thank you so much, Brandon. We appreciate you. Everybody, just if you have any questions, as always, just feel free to reach out to me. Be on the lookout. I'm going to continue to send updates. And then we will be sending out the schedule for round 1 a few days before. So just keep on the lookout in that email that you use to sign up and make sure that you're receiving all the updates for GBSC. All right. But yeah, just let me know if you need anything, and I will make sure that this video and this presentation is up at the latest by tomorrow.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks so much, Brandon. If you could send me this just to make sure it's not the one that we already have up. But I'll just refresh it to make sure it's up there.
I will send, I can drop it in the chat right now. Hold on.
Awesome.